Imsa just released a jam-packed entry list for the 2026 Rolex 24, answering some big questions that were unanswered from when the initial entry list was released a couple of months ago. Let's break down all 61 entries that we'll see in Daytona. Now, before we get too into it here, I just want to give a big shout out to AT Florio, Anthony Florio on X. If you're not following him there already, you absolutely should be. He's put together an awesome list of all of these entries for the 2026 season, outlining, of course, the confirmed drivers and teams that are on the grid, but also whether they are a full season or a Michelin Endurance Cup entry or a Daytona only entry. It's been a great help for me keeping up with all the grid changes and where everything has landed so far, so big shout out to Anthony for maintaining that great resource for everyone. Alright, let's start off with GTP and get right into the deep end here. In GTP, we're going to see 11 entries on the grid for not only the Rolex 24, but the entire Imsa season. There are no additional entries for the Michelin Endurance Cup races and no Daytona only entries. All of these entries are on the grid for the entire season. You have the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsports 963 that will be driven by Kevin Estre, Lawrence Vantor, and Matt Campbell. You have the number 7 Porsche Penske Motorsports entry of Julian Andlauer, Felipe Nasr, and Lauren Heinrich. The number 10 Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing entry that will feature Ricky Taylor, Felipe Albuquerque, and Will Stevens. The number 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin Valkyrie of Roman DeAngelis, Ross Gunn, Alex Ramirez, and Marco Sorensen. Number 24 BMW WRT entry of Kelvin Vanderlinde, Dries Vantor, Robin Freins, and Rene Rast. In the 25 BMW will be Marco Wittmann, Philippe Eng, Kevin Magnussen, and Raffaele Marciello. Then you have the 31 Whelen Cadillac of Jack Aiken, Earl Bamber, and Fred Vesti. The number 40 Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing entry of Jordan Taylor, Louis Delatraz, and Colton Herta. The number 60 Meyershank Racing Acura of Tom Blomqvist, Colin Braun, Scott Dixon, and AJ Allmendinger. The number 85 JDC Miller Motorsports Porsche of Nico Pino, Bryce Aaron, and Tymon Vanderhelm. And rounding out GTP, the number 93 Acura Meyershank Racing entry of Renger van de Zande, Nick Yololi, Alex Palou, and Kakuota. LMP2 will see 14 entries on the grid for the Rolex 24, and 12 of those will be full season entries. The number 2 United Autosport entry will be driven by Phil Fayer, Ben Hanley, Hunter McElrea, and Mikael Jensen. The number 04 CrowdStrike Racing entry will be piloted by George Kurtz, Alex Quinn, Toby Sowery, and Malte Jakobsen. The number 8 Tower Motorsports car will be driven by John Ferrano, Sebastian Bourdais, Sebastian Alvarez, and Kiffin Simpson. While the number 11 TDS Racing entry will be Toby Lutka, Matthias Beck, David Hennemeyer Hansen, and Charles Mallacy. Naveen Rao, Ferdinand Hepsburg, James Rowe, and Logan Sargent will pilot the number 18 Era Motorsports entry next year, while Dan Goldberg, Paul DeResta, Rasmus Lin, and Gregoire Sosi will drive the number 22 United Autosport car. The number 37 Intersport Racing car will be driven by John Field, Ollie Jarvis, Job van Aert, and Seth Lucas. And in the 43 Inter-Europol competition entry, it will be Tom Dillman, Bioy Garg, Jeremy Clark, and Antonio Felix da Costa. In the 52 Brian Herta Autosport with PR1 Matheson entry, it will be Misha Goiberg, Ben Keating, Parker Thompson, and Harry Tinknell in that car. The 61 Team Tonus entry has been confirmed for the grid, but has not confirmed their lineup of drivers yet. Then you have the 73 Pratt Miller Motorsports entry of Pietro Fittipaldi, Manuel Espirito Santo, Chris Cumming, and Enzo Fittipaldi. Francois Perotto, Nicholas Nielsen, Dylan Murray, and Mathieu Vaxivière will pilot the number 88 AF Corsa car. And this entry is a Daytona only entry. And in last year's championship winning entry, the 99 AO Racing car, will be PJ Hyatt, Dane Cameron, Johnny Edker, and Christian Rasmussen. And the other Daytona only entry on the grid is the number 343 Inter-Europol competition entry of Jakub Schmakowski, George Kolovos, Nolan Segal, and Nick Cassidy. As we look to GTD Pro, the Rolex 24 grid will see 15 entries on it, but of those 15, only 9 are full season entries. Let's start off with those full season entries first. It gets started with the number 1 Paul Miller Racing BMW that will be driven by Dan Harper, Neil Verhagen, Connor DeFilippi, and Max Hesse. Notably, Paul Miller Racing only on the grid with one car next year. And then we go to the number 3 Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller Motorsports entry. There it's Antonio Garcia, Alex Sims, and Marvin Kirchhofer in that car. In the sister number 4 Corvette, it will be Nicky Katzberg, Tommy Milner, and Nico Verone. The number 9 Pfaff Motorsports Lamborghini will feature Sandy Mitchell, Andrea Caldarelli, Marco Bertolotti, and for Daytona only, James Hinchcliffe. The number 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus will feature Jack Hawksworth, Ben Barnicoat, and Kyle Kirkwood. Pretty stacked lineup there. And that's before we head to the number 59 RLL Team McLaren. That car will feature Max Esterson, Yuri Vips, and Dean McDonald. Number 64 Ford Multimatic Motorsports entry will feature Dennis Olsen, Ben Barker, and Mike Rockenfeller. Well, the number 65 Ford Multimatic Motorsports Mustang will feature Chris Meese, Frederick Verveech, and Seb Prio. Then we have the final full season entry on the GTD Pro grid, and that will see Nick Tandy, Harry King, and Alessio Piccarello behind the wheel of Rexy. There are a couple of entries that are confirmed for the full Endurance Cup season as well. The number 62 Risi Competizione Ferrari is one of them, featuring Alessandro Piriguidi, Davide Brigant, and Daniel Serra. And then there's the 75 Express Racing Mercedes that will feature Kenny Habul, Will Power, Chaz Mostert, and Mauro Engel. There's also the 033 Triarsi Competizione entry of James Collado, Riccardo Agostini, Alessio Rivera, and Miguel Molina. And then rounding out the Endurance Cup only teams is the number 911 Manti Racing Porsche of Thomas Preining, Klaus Bachler, and Ricardo Feller. Now, there are a couple of entries that are either confirmed for just the Rolex 24 or at least just the Rolex 24 and possibly the 12 Hours of Sebring. That one entry that is confirmed for the Rolex and possibly Sebring is the number 48 Windward Motorsport Mercedes. Yes, Windward finally makes the jump to GTD Pro. That entry will feature Scott Noble, Jason Hart, Maxi Martin, and Lucas Stoltz. And then the final Daytona only entry is the number 69 Get Speed Mercedes of Anthony Bartone, Maximilian Goetz, Jules Gounon, and Fabian Schiller. That just leaves us with GTD to go, and there are a healthy 21 entries that are going to be at the Rolex 24 in GTD. We're first going to start off with the 13 full season entries though, and here it gets kicked off with the number 12 Vassar Sullivan Lexus. That entry will feature Aaron Telitz, Benjamin Peterson, Frankie Montecalvo, and Esteban Masson. The number 13 Corvette is under a new team name this year of 13 Autosport, and will once again feature Ore Fadani, Matt Bell, Lars Kern, and Ben Green behind the wheel. The number 16 Myers Riley Motorsport Ford Mustang will feature Sheena Monk, Felipe Fraga, Jensen Altzman, and Roman Grosjean in the lineup. While the number 19 Vanderster Racing Aston Martin will feature Rory Vanderster, Valentin Hasse-Klot. The 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin will feature Eduardo Barrichello, Tom Gamble, Zachary Robichaud, and Mattia Drudi. The 34 Conquest Racing Ferrari will feature Manny Franco, Albert Costa, Lorenzo Patrese, and Thierry Vermeulen. DXTT Racing and their Corvette will also feature on the grid. However, they have an unconfirmed driver lineup at this time. The number 45 Wayne Taylor Racing Lamborghini has confirmed Danny Formal, Trent Hinman, Graham Doyle, and Marcus Ericsson will pilot that car. The number 57 Windward Racing Mercedes will feature Russell Ward, Philippe Ellis, Indy Donchi, and Lucas Auer. The Inception Racing Ferrari will feature Brandon Aribe, Frederick Schandorf, Ollie Milroy, and David Fuminelli. The 81 Dragon Speed Corvette that switches not only manufacturers but also to the GTD class will feature Henrik Hedman, Gianmarco Altoe, Casper Stevenson, and Matteo Cairoli. The number 96 Turner Motorsport BMW will feature Patrick Gallagher, Robbie Foley, Frederick Schandorf, and Jans Klingman. And the final full season entry, the 120 Wright Motorsports Porsche, will feature Adam Adelson, Callum Eilot, Tom Sargent, and Elliott Skier. And then we have 6 entries that have been confirmed for the full Michelin Endurance Cup calendar. The first of those being the number 21 AF Corsa Ferrari of Simon Mann, Antonio Fuoco, Lila Wadu, and Tommaso Mosca. Next up is the number 28 RS1 Porsche. It has been confirmed that Eric Zitska and Jan Halen will drive that car, with a couple of to-be-determined drivers. Gradient Racing will feature Jake Walker, Till Bechtelschleimer, Corey Lewis, and Joey Hand. I guess this is an entry that's also going to be in the sprint races as well, so it's kind of a full season entry, just with different driver lineups. For the sprint races only, it will feature Jake Walker and Corey Lewis behind the wheel. There's the 80 Lone Star Racing Mercedes, which will feature Scott Andrews, Ralph Aaron, and Lynn Hodenius, while the 023 Triarci Competizione Ferrari will feature Onofrio Triarci, Kenton Cook, Robert McGuinness, and Yeffe Yee. Then finally, we have the 912 Manthey First Form Porsche that will feature Ryan Hardwick, Ricardo Pera, Ricard Leitz, and Morris Schuring. That leaves just a couple of Daytona-only entries to round out the grid, one of which being a car that has been rumored to possibly be interested in adding some additional races onto their calendar. That's the 44 Magnus Racing Aston Martin that will feature John Potter, Nicky Thiem, Spencer Pumpelly, and Madison Snow. The other Daytona-only entry will be the number 123 Mueller Motorsports America Porsche 911 GT3R that will feature Peter Ludwig, Ryan Yardley, Dave Musial Sr., and Dave Musial Jr. There you have it, all 61 entries that are going to be racing at the Rolex 24 this January. I'll have plenty of videos coming out in the upcoming weeks in the lead up to the big season opening race, so make sure that you're subscribed. Also, a big shout out to all of the channel supporters. If you too want to support the show, you can head to patreon.com/offintheesses or click that join button below. Once again though, thanks for tuning in. I hope everyone has a great race weekend and doesn't go off in the S's.